All right, I'm here with head women's basketball coach Stephen Harrel. How you doing, Coach?
Doing all right.
You guys are 10-10 overall, and you're 2-5 to start the 2018 second half. And kind of take us through that. I mean, you end the first half on a four-game win streak, come back, and it's kind of been a tough road for you guys so far.
Yeah. Well, first off, we lost 3 kids to knee injuries.
Three important people too.
Yeah. One was a starter, and 2 were heavy minutes type players. So we did that, and then so we're down to 9 players, and then we lost a couple of, well, not a couple, but 2 to 3 close games.
Right.
So that kind of what it's really about right now, and it's a part of basketball, so it's no excuse. I mean, it happens on every planet to every team every year, so it's really no excuse. But that's what we're working with. That's what we're dealing with right now. But having to deal with some kids that did some good things for you, and then you're thinking, hey, second half of the season, they're freshmen, they learned. The second half, they're gonna come out, they're gonna do some good things,
right?
And then boom, boom, boom. So it's been tough, but we've got some resilient kids. We'll be able to battle through.
Well, I mean, talking about a freshman that has learned or come through her own. I mean, Tierra Full of past 5 games, averaging 8 points per game, and her most was 17 against Allen, and then 3.6 rebounds a game. 9 versus Martin was her highest. I mean, what kind of maturation process has she gone through? Because I remember in the beginning of the year, she was kind of a fringe player, and then now she's kind of getting a lot more minutes.
Well, injuries has a lot to do with it. More opportunity. More playing time. So not only that, she's starting to really buy in. She was a kid that, we always considered had a lot of talent.
Right.
But I'm on her every day about being lazy. But she's starting to have more energy in practice. And it's funny what playing time will do.
Right.
It give you a little energy to get yourself going, not only in the game, but actually in practice, because you feel like you're more a part of it. So she's been doing that, and she's a kid to where we got her playing out of position, but because she's actually a guard. So
really?
Yeah, so we've been playing her out of position, trying to help her out, trying to get some mismatch problems. But she's been shooting the 3 pretty well.
Yeah.
Rebounding a little bit more. I'm always on her about rebounding. She's a kid that could easily get 7 to 8 rebounds a game.
Right.
But it's just that energy thing, man. And she's a kid. I love her to death. But 3-4 times up down the floor.
Is she? Yeah.
She panting like a dog. I mean, just out of breath.
Right.
So that conditioning phase for her is what she's going through right now. But like I said, more opportunity for a kid like that is good, especially when she's a freshman and she's going to be coming back next year. So we're hoping when she uses this to kind of get herself going,
right,
and get some confidence within herself. So
that's going to be huge with the confidence.
Oh, it's going to be huge, and that's what we're preaching to a lot of our kids who haven't played that much. And now being thrown into a fire, like, hey, just use this to get better, and if somebody comes back, we know now that, hey, even though you might not get as many minutes, you're going to get more minutes than you usually got because you've shown us that you can actually contribute.
Right. And, going off of or staying on Tierra and being out of position, she draws a lot of fouls. Down low, a lot of charge fouls. She's not afraid to get hit, at least from the outside looking in. Is that something that you've had to teach her, or is that ingrained in her to? I
think me hounded on it a little bit as far as trying to get as many charges as we can.
Right.
And like I say, I explain to them the more stuff like that you do. I'm always teaching intangibles. So the more intangibles that you do, the more you can have a chance to be out there on the floor.
Right.
You can go down and miss 2 shots in a row. If you come down and take a charge, I forget about those 2 shots.
Of course.
So, those are the things I think she's starting to let register up top. And so she's saying, well, listen, I may not play as well over here, but if I go down here and get a rebound, or if I go down here and take a charge, he'll leave me in a little bit longer. So she's a smart girl now.
Right.
She's a very smart girl. So
she knows how to play the strings a little bit.
Oh, no doubt about it. She is very smart when it comes to stuff like that.
Now on a little bit of a sour note, I would say heartbreakers against Dodge City and Indy. Kind of take us through the game. I mean, I don't want to say just Tatiana McCree, but if she would have hit 2 of those free throws at the end of the game, followed by that Lucy Burke buzzer beater that just extra points. I mean,
Right.
The game's a lot different. It's probably still going on.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
kind of take us through those 2 games.
Well, the Independence game was, it's a game to where it's a rivalry game, so records go out the window. It's all about who's going to play hard, who's going to play the smartest.
Right.
And I think both teams competed very, very well. I think our scheme was awesome.
Yeah.
We really doubled down on the post, kind of made the outside perimeter shooters kind of shoot the ball. And so the scheme was working. And I told him, I said, your effort was there. You bought into what we wanted you to do as far as scheme-wise. You did that to a T. You got to make some shots, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it all came down to.
Right.
You got to make some shots. And we had a couple chances to where we could have pulled away. I remember one possession we were up either 5 or 7. And we had the ball and probably about 3 to 4 minutes to go in the fourth. And we kicked out to Tot. Wide open jump shot. You make that, now they're starting to think, oh, man, here we go, and we're starting to think, oh, man, here we go. So she misses that one, and then they go down and score, and then it cuts it back to 3 when it could have been 7, 8, 9. You know what I mean? Just possessions like that to where we could have pulled away and we didn't. We allowed them to stay around in the game. And then we got to overtime, and man couldn't make a shot. No,
they got up. They were hot.
Yeah,
at first
they hit. The sad part is they made one shot and the rest was free throws.
Right,
that was it. But they ran their offense to where they could get a good look. We fouled them and they made their free throws.
Right,
and so you win the game. That 5 minutes, it's no room for error.
No,
and so we
seems like the clock ticks a little faster too.
Yeah, it does. Before you know it, you thought you just tipped it off and there's a minute to go already. So we had opportunities. We just got down there, and I think it was a little fatigue. We just wasn't looking to be aggressive. It was probably about, if we had 10 possessions, 4 to 5 of them, we shot the ball with like 2 seconds to go on the clock because nobody was trying to make a play.
Right.
It was like, I don't want to mess up. I don't want to mess up. Like, somebody's got to eventually shoot the basketball, So that kind of hurt us with that. And then, like you say, missed those free throws, man, and that kind of just was the story of the game.
Well, talking about your scheme, I mean, when we went down to Indy, there are 2 big girls down low. I mean, they were really, really good at Indy. But however you managed your game, however you prepared your girls, I mean, you took both of those girls out of the game.
Completely.
I mean, they weren't anywhere near as productive as they were that first time you guys met them.
No doubt. And that's one of the reasons why we put in 2-1-2 is to kind of help with bigs we can't really guard. We'll be doing the same thing on Saturday, kind of make those guards kind of beat us. But it worked, man.
Right.
And that's one of the main things of coaching. One of the things that have you up late nights is defensively. You think, if I can just do what we're supposed to do and we score 50-something points, you win the game.
Right.
Well, you got to get to 50. We didn't get to 50.
No.
We got to 48.
Right.
We score what we normally average, not 60, but 55 points. You win the game.
Right.
So, and when you go into halftime and you got 22 points, you're worried.
Right. Of course.
The way you're trying to get to is 30 plus. If you got 30 plus, you're thinking, all right, if I put on 30 more, we get to 60. If I put on 20 more, we right around where we average. But when you go in and it's 22, you're like, So that's kind of what happened with that. And then Dollar City game, man, we just went down and laid an egg. Completely laid an egg. We were very lackadaisical in how we approached things as far as running our offense. We couldn't make a shot. I mean, I want to say we were like 14 or 15 for 60.
Right.
And so we couldn't make a shot. And then more of our mainstream players that we've normally been dependent on, they didn't give us anything.
I think Lucy had 3 points, right?
Yeah, she was 1 for 10.
Right. Uncharacteristic of her.
Scott Jasper didn't play well. Alexis Wooden was 2 for 7. Michaela Tanskley, she had 4 turnovers at the half. And just
unheard of.
Yeah, just unheard of. It's just, and so we had that, and even with all that at the half, we had a 5-point lead. The score was 20 to 15.
Oh, wow.
I mean, a real barn burner. Right. You know what I mean? And it's like, all right, eventually we'll come out the second half. We'll get going, and we never got going. So eventually, I made some subs, and my subs got us back, and we, got to the fourth quarter. We have the 7-point lead, and we just once again just struggled to score. And then eventually, they made some shots.
Right.
We were giving them the three because they shoot like 21, 23%. So it's like, hey, go for it.
If you beat us, you beat us.
Yeah, right. But eventually, they made a couple of them.
Right.
And instead of us coming down and just scoring every other play or every 3 plays, we'll go 4 and 5 possessions where we didn't score. With all that being said, we still had the lead with a minute to go. Call some timeouts, set up some things for us to ISO a couple players, and we threw the ball away. And I mean, just carelessly. We ISO'd the side one time, so we was trying to get it to Sky. All she had to do was throw it over her head. There's nobody back there.
Right.
Just throw it over her head. Even if you can't get it to her right here, throw it over her head, she'll go get it.
Right.
Play still works because nobody's over there. She threw it straight up in the air, and so that hurt. And then last play of the game, we run a little handoff action with a screener, and Lucy got a good look at it, but, 1 for 10.
Right.
So we just basically laid there. We beat that team by 30, 35 points at the crib.
Yep.
And went down there and just didn't do what we were supposed to do. So that's what really hurts. It doesn't hurt the fact that we lost. Of course it hurts the fact that we lost, but that's not the real reason why I'm mad. The real reason why I was so mad was because I felt like we didn't execute.
Right.
And it's 2 games in a row to where we scored in the 40s. And you can't beat people in the Jayhawk by doing that.
No, not at all. And you guys aren't accustomed to scoring 40 points. Like
Right.
I said, your average is 55, 58 points per game. So,
Right.
you do that in both these games, and now we're talking about being 4-3
Yeah.
in the 2018 season.
Yeah. And I tell my girls, it's certain games where you can't win. You do everything that you can. You just can't hit a shot, or you're not getting the calls. But there are certain games where you should win.
Right.
And Dodge City, it's a good program, but they're struggling this year.
Right.
And that was a game where we should have won.
Mm-hmm.
Well, their kids wanted it more than us, so congratulations to them. And we got to take that kick in the butt and then try to come out. And the hardest part is after you lose 2 close games like that, then you get the number 18 team in the country
Coming here.
coming to your house.
Yeah.
So it's just we got to find a way to get out of it.
Right.
And I believe we will. I think with our talent, no matter what we've been going through, I think we're going to find a way to make a run when it counts.
Right.
And if you look at the standings, we're probably like 2-3 games out of second. You know what I mean? And 1 game out of third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. You know what I
Right.
mean? So it's just like, it's there. You just got to put together a string of wins
Right.
here very soon, and just try to get that home game for the first round of the playoffs.
Well, if you're going to go through any kind of a lull, you'd rather it be now
Right.
than the last 4 games of the season.
Correct.
Plenty of time to get that rolling. Like you said, why not do it against Hutch?
Hey.
And then,
Hey.
we got Seward I think Seward's right after Hutch or soon thereafter.
Right.
Why not do it again? We've shown we're able to.
Right.
Kind of getting on Lucy real quick, and then it'll be the last negative thing we talk about.
No, you're all right. It's a lot of it.
Ever since she had the flu, and it was pretty bad from what I understand, she hasn't been shooting as well. Is it teams making adjustments to her? Is it her just trying to get back into the rhythm, or?
I don't want to blame it on the flu.
Okay.
She's been inconsistent all year.
Right.
So I don't think that is the problem. The main thing is Lucy has to adjust, and she hasn't been adjusting. You're going to see the best defender. You're going to get face guarded. You're going to get bumped. You're going to get held. You're going to get grabbed, scratch clawed, all that old good stuff. She just hasn't adjusted yet. And I thought by this time she would have adjusted, and she's not. And it's a slow process for her. And what she has to figure out is, listen, I'm going to get that every game. I need to be watching film, trying to figure out what can I do to get myself open.
Right.
We're going to run the plays to get you open, but you've got to start reading when we set you a screen. And I think that's one of her biggest problems. And one thing that we need to discuss is She doesn't read screens well. If she read screens well, even though they're holding you, they're grabbing you, if we set a good screen, you should be able to get yourself open.
Right.
Because you can see she goes underneath, I need to fade. If she's tight on me, I need to curl, because she'll be behind me.
Right.
If she gets stuck on the screen, then I need to pop. I think that's her biggest problem is reading screens. If she can read screens, she can get a shot off. And then now, making her jump shot faster. It's what it is, because you used to get a second, now you only get a split second.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's just different. So now every shot seems rushed, when normally you can pop out and catch and shoot, set your feet. Now you don't have that.
Everyone
that
knows
privilege.
about her.
Yeah. So too much is given, man. Much is required. You
Right.
know what I mean? So it's just the way it is. You've been doing a lot of stuff. So now people are throwing the house at you. I mean, people actually believe in their hearts if Lucy doesn't play well, they'll beat us.
Right.
Some occasions it's been right. Some occasions it's been wrong. But I think we got more players that can
Right.
help us out. But it looks like it's been working.
Well, I mean, you talk about people, push and grab and claw and everything, and I want to say Indy, and I don't think it's dirty. I grew up in the 90s, and I got to watch that kind of basketball.
Right.
I think several times throughout, and I believe it was the Indy game, she would be running through the paint, and I could see clear as day someone had a hold of her jersey.
Yeah.
And so, again, she's got to get used to that, and
Yeah.
like you were saying, being able to read off of how that screen's
Yeah,
set.
and that's another thing I need to do a better job of is letting the referees know. And I thought I have, and the referees have not been adjusting. I mean,
Right.
if you're gonna face guard somebody, you gotta understand there's gonna be some holding, some grabbing.
Right.
She's got more offensive calls called on her than the defensive calls called on the defensive player, and I just think that's ludicrous.
Right.
I don't understand how you see the matchup, you see what they're doing. The girl can't get open because they're grabbing her, they're holding her. I mean,
Right.
they're stretching her jersey out. If you check her jerseys, they're stretched, they're pulled. You know what I mean?
Right.
They got little bitty holes in them.
And she's not fat, so it's not like
No, right.
I mean,
And they just haven't been adjusting. So I need to do a better job of riding those referees and letting them understand, listen, she's getting face guarded, but she's getting held. And even if
Right.
I need to pick up a tee to pull, early on to make my point, I may have to do that. But we've got to do a better job of setting better screens and getting her open, and she has to do a better job of reading those screens.
Gotcha. And now, okay, like I said, that was the last negative thing. I want to talk about two of your players that have been consistent all year. And the last three games, Sky Jasper, 12 points, 3 rebounds, 4 steals, 4 blocks. 10 points, 8 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks. And then 9 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 steals. Sophomore, people know about her, and she's starting to really play much better than she was in the first half, even though in the first half she was always consistent.
Oh, yeah. Sky is a kid that whenever people call about other kids, I always throw her name in the hat. I say, man, y'all call about this kid, but this kid's leading us in scoring.
Right.
You need to be asking about her. You
Right.
know? She's a kid that fills up the stat sheet. She can do it all. My main thing with Sky is getting her to understand, one, she's a good player. Where she came from, she was considered to be a role player, so she has that in her mind coming up here, and we're starting to break that cycle. But not only understanding she's a good player, but understanding when things go wrong, you can't pout.
Right.
You just gotta keep playing.
Right.
And she's her worst critic. She is constantly on herself, and I tell her, man, just go out and play. Just don't worry about if you miss a couple shots in the first half, and
Right.
Things of that nature. So she's been doing a better job of that. She's a kid that when I need a bucket and go get it. I kind of went to her in the Indy game, and she traveled trying to make another play for somebody else, and she's just a kid who hasn't been in that position a lot.
Right.
So I had to go to her and put my arm around her and tell her, listen, if I run a play for you, then I'm living and dying with you.
Right.
I ain't running this play for you to pass it to somebody else. So she's learning to be that player. But a
Right.
good kid, man. A kid, like I said, that fills up the stat sheet. And a kid that we're going to need to play well for us to be successful. So kind of moving her from that 6-man role to a starting spot to now you one of the main players. It's been a transformation for her, and it's been working. So
Right.
we appreciate all that she does. Just need more.
Right. Like you
Just
said,
need
if I'm
more.
running a play for you, don't pass it.
Yeah, man. Look, I wish the coach would run a play for me. I ain't looking for nobody else.
Right.
This going up. Basically, when you told me I was getting the ball, you told me, hey, shoot it.
Right.
So until you tell me something different, this ball going up. Falling down, somebody hanging on me, it's still going up.
Right.
That's the confidence she has to have.
Right. And then the other girl is Michaela Tanksley. 8 points, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 point, 1 assist, 1 steal. That was her little lull. But then 9 points, 5 assists, and 2 steals in her last 3 games. And not many turnovers. Of course, against the Dodge, I think she had 6 on the game, 4 in the first half. She's been very consistent point guard for you. Kind of talk about her. I know we've talked about her before, but
Yeah. Kid can handle it with the best of them. She's seasoned, so she doesn't make too many mistakes. It's just when the mistakes come, they come in bundles.
right,
You know what I mean? But if you check her stats, she's rarely have games where she has more than 2 or 3 turnovers.
Right.
So, but a kid that we need to be more of a vocal leader.
Mm-hmm.
She's very, very quiet. If you don't know her, she won't talk to you. I mean, it's not disrespect. It's just her nature.
Right.
You know, she's very reserved about what she does. So, just a kid who needs to show more energy. I always tell her, man, you're too cool for school.
Right.
You just gotta. I need my point guards to be, just raw all
Right,
the time.
right.
She's just like, it's cool. I'm gonna go do my job, coach. And it's like, I know you're gonna do your job, but sometimes your teammates need a kick in the butt.
right,
Sometimes your teammates need a little bit of encouraging.
Mm-hmm.
And if they get it from that point guard, a girl that they hang out with every day or, talk to every day, compared to me, it comes off different. So that's what I need more from her. But continue to be consistent. I would like her to make more little pull-up jump shots. I kind of feel like she gets too deep sometimes, and you a mouse playing among the trees down there.
Right.
You got to understand, there's only so far I can go. But once she understands, hey, when I get to this spot, if I'm open, I'm shooting. I ain't going way down there. Once she understands that, she'll be a great player. But love her to death, gonna miss her when she leaves. Just need more.
right.
Just need more.
Well, Coach, we have a game on Saturday against Hutch. I know we kind of touched on it a little bit earlier. What can we expect from your girls, and what can we expect from a Hutch team?
Well, I know what you're gonna get from Hutch. You're gonna get power on the inside, good coaching. They're gonna run their stuff to a T, man. They're gonna move it. They're gonna get it up the floor, and opportunities that they get, they're gonna have a real good chance at making them. So you got to limit those opportunities, man. You got to make them tough. You got to really force their guards to be players. They got 2 big kids that are pretty good, and they get you sealed, they're gonna score it. So that's what we're gonna get from them. From us, I don't know. We Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So I don't know what we're gonna get. I know one thing we're gonna get. We're gonna get a team that plays hard. We're going to get a team that wants to win. And coming off those 2 losses, I think we're going to be extremely hungry. And if you ask me, that's a team that you should be worried about.
Of course.
When you think about records and everything, a team that scares me is not a team that's 19-2. It's a team that's 10-10.
Right.
It's a team that's 9-9 or 9-8. And have beat or hung with these top teams in the league. That's a team that later down the road I don't want to see. I want to see somebody else, but I don't want to see them because you don't know who you're gonna get. Like I say, it's Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. We might show up and just be some ballers,
right?
But we might show up and you beat us by 20. But that's a team that should frighten you, and that's what I keep instilling in my girls is no matter what. We like good times. We keeping our head above water, But no matter what, you're still a good team because you've beat some good teams. You've beat some teams that the teams that are on top of you haven't even beat.
Right.
You've beat some of those teams. You've beat some teams. I mean, you've been in games and not being blown out, but lost by 10 or 9 or 8 or 7 or 6, or 3 or 1.
Or 1, yeah.
Right. You've been in those games where other teams have played them and gotten blown out, never been close.
Right.
So you have to look at that and say, well, if we can hang with them, we can beat them.
Right.
And that's why I say I think we are scary. And if I'm worried about any team, that's a team that I'm worried about. So I think we're going to play with vigor. Mm-hmm. We're going to come out ready to go. We're chomping at the bits. We're trying to get a win. And what's better than getting a win against a ranked team? I don't have to jack them up for this game. You know, I don't have to sell them like I would have to sell on a Dodge City. They know Hutch is coming. Mm-hmm. They know we should have beat them the first time. And they know that we need a win. So we're going to come out ready to go. We're going to have a good practice. I gave them the day off yesterday, kind of a mental thing. Mm-hmm. Just let them get away from it. And today we're going to get in there and we're going to get after it. So I think it's going to be a good game.
Yes, sir.
I don't see a blowout. I think it's going to be a good one. And hopefully and prayerfully we can come out with a win.
Well, Coach Harrel, we definitely look forward to it. And thank you for taking time out of the day and sit and talk with me, man.
Hey, man, no problem. I just want to make sure that our fans know that, you know, I love my girls. They play extremely hard. And just don't let our record sway you to think something else. We're going to play extremely hard. We're going to give you a good show every time. Mm-hmm. And just don't count us out yet. We're going to make a run.
Absolutely.
All right. Appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Always good.